Welcome to our friends in the Santa Fe Public Schools. The Santa Fe Alliance for Science and the Santa Fe Animal Shelter have partnered to bring you this digital humane education series. My name's Karen, and I'll be joined today by my friends from the shelter, Tom and Mary Beth. Today, we're going to talk about animal overpopulation.
Just how can 2 cats become 44,000 cats 4 years later? Hi, my name's Mary Beth.
Hi there, my name is Tom, and Mary Beth and I are both volunteers who have visited classrooms all over the city to talk about the Santa Fe Animal Shelter.
So how can 2 cats become 44,000 cats 4 years later? We will answer that question in just a minute, but first, let's return to the Santa Fe Animal Shelter. This is the admissions building, where all animals enter the shelter. Some animals are lost and most are returned to their homes. However, many dogs, cats, and house rabbits who come to us are homeless and in need of forever homes. And they just keep coming and coming. Sometimes it's 10 a day, sometimes it's 20 a day, sometimes more. 7 days a week. Let's take a moment to pause so you can try to answer this question. Can you guess how many animals the shelter takes in each year? Stop the video while you think about it. If you guessed D, 5,500, then you are correct. That's a lot of animals. In fact, it's an average of 15 a day. In Albuquerque, there are 3 shelters with a combined total of receiving around 20,000 animals a year. That's over 50 animals a day, every day. Folks, we're outnumbered. Overpopulation is a real problem because there are way too many animals and not enough people to give them loving forever homes. Here's a very sad fact. In many shelters across the country, almost half the animals who enter the shelter have to be euthanized, or as some say, put to sleep. No one wants this, but many shelters simply don't have the space or resources to care for the flood of animals they receive. Fortunately, the Santa Fe shelter does not have to do this because our adoption rate is so high. With practically every adoptable animal eventually finding a forever home, this qualifies us to be classified as a no-kill shelter, something we're very proud of. Nationally, 1.5 million shelter dogs and cats are euthanized every year. The major reason? Continuing overpopulation. Tom, would you please talk about how overpopulation happens and how we can solve this problem?
I sure will. I'm going to give you a fact that will probably surprise you. It may even shock you. I hope it does. For every person born in this country, 15 puppies and 45 kittens are born. That's 60 animals born for every one of us. 60 animals. No wonder we are so outnumbered, and why so many animals are homeless, and why nationally so many have to be euthanized. Homeless dogs and cats often lead short and difficult lives. So, how can we solve this problem? The answer to that question can be found in 2 important words: spay and neuter. I'll repeat, spay and neuter. These are medical procedures, spay for females, neuter for males, performed so that the animals cannot reproduce and contribute to the overpopulation problem. All animals adopted from our shelter have been spayed and neutered. Dogs, cats, rabbits, all spayed and neutered before adoption. These medical procedures are major surgery that only take about 20 to 30 minutes in a sterile operating room and are performed by a highly skilled veterinarian with a veterinary technician. The animals are asleep during the procedure and they are up and around in a few hours. In addition to reducing overpopulation, there are health benefits for spayed and neutered animals. So let's hear from Dr. Steckley, a veterinarian in the shelter who does hundreds of spay and neuter operations every year.
Dr. Steckity, what are the benefits of having an animal spayed or neutered?
Well, in addition to reducing overpopulation, there are important health benefits for both the animal and the pet guardian. Animals who have been spayed or neutered are less likely to develop certain infections and cancers, including uterine infections and testicular cancer. Of course, they also do not run the risk of pregnancy-related medical issues. Another important advantage of spaying or neutering is that the animal stays closer to home, as they're less likely to go out looking for a mate. And there are some behavioral benefits as well. Neutered cats are less likely to spray urine in the home, and neutered dogs are less likely to fight with other dogs. You also avoid the unpleasant behaviors associated with being in heat when female cats or dogs are spayed. Overall, spayed or neutered animals live longer than those who have not had this important surgery.
Well, thank you, Dr. Steckity, and thanks for all that you do to keep companion animals healthy while helping to reduce the overpopulation problem. Okay, back to you, Tom.
Thanks, Karen. Now, going back to the question asked earlier, how can just 2 cats become 44,000 cats 4 years later? Mary Beth will show you how.
For the purpose of this exercise, and this is important, none of the cats have been spayed or neutered, and the females are constantly reproducing over the 4 years covered. So let's start with 2 cats, 1 female and 1 male, neither spayed nor neutered. They get together and have a litter of 5 kittens. Female cats can have up to 3 litters a year, so this female could produce up to 15 kittens in 1 year. Female cats can have kittens when they are only 6 months old. So, assuming that half of the original litter are females and have litters at 6 months, we could end up with as many as 50 cats at the end of the first year.
As a growing number of females continue to have kittens who, at 6 months, begin to have kittens of their own, the number of cats will total around 44,000 at the end of the 4th year. Remember, while all the new females were having babies, all the female cats that came before, including the original cats, are still having litter after litter after litter. Now we interrupt this presentation for a quick math problem. If 2 cats have 15 kittens in 1 year, how many kittens will they have in 4 years? Let's pause the video for a minute and so you can figure it out. Well, you guessed it again. The correct answer is 60 kittens.
Let's go over the math. 15 kittens in 1 year. How many kittens will there be after 4 years? For years 1 and 2, 15 plus 15 is 30 kittens. Same thing for years 3 and 4. So how much is 30 plus 30? It's 60. These numbers were calculated by veterinarians and statisticians who considered how often the animals can reproduce, the average litter size, and the number of females per litter. However you add it up, overpopulation will continue until more people take responsibility to have their animals spayed and neutered.
Okay, let's review. Companion animal overpopulation is a huge problem. It results in 1.5 million dogs and cats being euthanized every single year. That's a very sad situation. In addition, homeless animals often lead short and difficult lives, facing hunger, freezing weather, dangerous roads, and no possibility of medical care. It's a lonely and loveless life compared to living in a forever home like yours, which is exactly where we want them to be. The solution lies in people taking responsibility for having their companion animals spayed and neutered. Today, there are many programs and locations for low cost, sometimes even no cost, spay and neuter services. The Santa Fe shelter operates such a facility on the city's south side. Here we also offer low-cost vaccinations and microchipping. It may require a little looking around, but most communities have some kind of low-cost spay-neuter program for people who are aware and want to do the right thing. Well, we hope this brief presentation has outlined the problem and the solution to overpopulation. On a positive note, 20 years ago, the Santa Fe shelter took in approximately 9,000 animals a year. In 2019, we took in slightly over 5,000. We are making progress, but still have a long way to go. So what can you do? First, we encourage you to have your own animals spayed and neutered if this has not already been done. And now that you have the facts, you can educate and encourage others to do the same. With growing public awareness and support in the years to come, we can make sure that more and more dogs, cats, and bunnies live long and happy lives as members of someone's family.
Well, thank you to Tom, Mary Beth, and Dr. Stekethy for teaching us about this very important issue of animal overpopulation. Now, in the next session, the Alliance for Science and the Santa Fe Animal Shelter will discuss the adoption process that takes place at the shelter. So I hope you can join us. And remember, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and always be kind to the animals.